Hi everyone and welcome to or welcome back to Stitches Past 5. My name is Vera and today I'm coming at you with another knitting podcast where I share everything about my knitting life, what's currently going on, what project I've finished, what I'm working on, and what's next on the list. Today I have a lot of things to share with you compared to my usual podcasts, mainly because it is like the time for Christmas, so it is like quite a few gift knits, finishing up things for myself, but also, you know, buying some new things to treat myself a little bit. I think now is kind of the quieter time before Christmas, before all the craziness and all the traveling, at least for myself, starts. I'm really, you know, taking the time to kind of, you know, wind down a little bit, so there is a little bit more time to knit at the moment, which is lovely given outside is really cold as well. We've gotten quite a bit of snow in the last few days, so it is really nice to just cozy up on the sofa in the evenings to do a bit of knitting. So let's get right into it. The first one is my finished project, which is like 90% finished, so it's currently on the blocking board. So it is this thing right here, and it probably doesn't look like too much, but essentially it is a ribbed hat. I already have a ribbed hat and this is what that one looks like. Essentially it is this really basic like 2x2 ribbed hat that, you know, you can kind of fold thicker or fold a little bit less thick and then have it like pop up a little bit more at the top. This is like my own pattern. I mean, this one I made like years ago, so I didn't write anything down for this pattern, so this was kind of like my attempt to remake it and to actually like write down the pattern, write down the dimensions, write down the amount of stitches, because literally what I've had to do is like count everything on here. I was going on with stitch markers to like show myself where I did the decreases at the crown. It is kind of like a circular decrease crown. I'm usually like, I'm a little bit picky about like how the crown of a hat looks, so I figured like I wear this hat like almost every single day. I love this one, so I really wanted to recreate it. So I made this, and this one is actually going to be a Christmas gift. It's not fully dry yet, so I can't take it off the board just yet. It probably needs another day or two on here. But I figured I have this one to show you. So the yarn I used is this one. It's like this really dark blue. It is this one. So it is the Malabrigo Arroyo in color 40 or 046, so 46 I guess, in the color Prussian blue or Prussia blue. And yeah, it is 100% superwash merino wool, and the gauge is 20 to 22 stitches is 4 inches or 10 centimeters on 3.5 to 4 millimeter needles. So what I did actually, I just kind of hoped that it would give me the same gauge as this one, which it ended up doing. This one I made using 2 strands of drops alpaca. So that I remembered from then, but I just figured like it's kind of the same like gauge, and like when I started I already knew that it would kind of work out. Now when I was making this hat, it was literally like this wide, just because like the 2x2 ribbing was like really bunched together, but now that I've blocked it, it's like a pretty good size. It is like a little bit long right now, but like it will kind of shrink a little bit together. Like if I hold these on top of each other, oopsie, this one is like just a little bit taller, longer, but this is also for a guy, so I figured that like if it's a bit longer, like they probably have a bigger head than me anyways, it'll just kind of, you know, stand up a little bit more, or you have a bigger cuff to fold, which is also fine. So I'm actually going to write a pattern for this and hopefully publish it sooner rather than later. I will do another like test of the pattern and then probably also call for pattern testers. So you can follow me on social media to be on the lookout for that, because yeah, I really want to make this into a nice pattern, this hat. As for the yarn, I used exactly 50 grams of it, so that was kind of a nice coincidence that it was exactly half of the 100-gram skeins that the Malabrigo Arroyo comes in. And I used a 3.5mm needle for this hat. So I'm excited for it to come off the blocking board. I'll probably also show you again next podcast so you can see what it looks like. And yeah, I'm really happy with how it turned out. Like the 2x2 ribbing I think is just so nice, like especially for a guy, and like I made it in a darker color so it's a little bit like more nuanced, like yeah, it's not like gonna pop into your eye when you walk by, but that's exactly like the vibe I was going with this one. Okay, so speaking of the Malabrigo Arroyo yarn, my next project, which is actually a work in progress, is the Elsa mitten. So I've made one and this is what it looks like. Ta-da! I am so in love with this stitch pattern. These are the Elsa mittens, and I also made it from the Malabrigo Arroyo yarn, this one in the color 133 Sand Bank. The gauge is the same, so 20 by 22 stitches by 4 inches or 10 centimeters, and I also made this using a 3.5mm needle. Now the pattern is actually from this book, so it is the 52 Weeks of Easy Knits book, and this is the pattern, so it's pattern number 36 in the book. And here, this is the sample that it's knitted in. I was just like, I immediately fell in love with this beautiful, beautiful, seemingly easy, and like, yes, it was quite easy to work up stitched pattern definitions. It's literally just knits and purls, but it just gives this really like fluffy, like textured characteristic to the glove, which I think makes it super interesting. So this is the color I chose. Again, this is going to be a gift. I mean, I haven't made the second one, hence a work in progress. It's going to be a gift, so I wanted to choose a muted color that that person I'm gifting it to will likely enjoy. I think with gifts it's always safe to go like on the, you know, muted color route than to go on a really bright route, unless you know that that person really loves like a really bright pink or really bright green. But this is what it looks like. I think it's so beautiful, like the ribbed collar or the ribbed bottom here as well, that you can kind of like fold up depending on how you want to wear it. And yeah, it was like really easy to knit up, to be honest. Like I made the second size, so there's 3 sizes, and yeah, with the gauge that was indicated on the yarn, I didn't even gauge swatch or anything, which you shouldn't, but I didn't. It worked out totally fine. Like this is just like a perfect little size. I did like make it a little bit shorter just because the measurement I felt like were really long, like for the finger part of the glove. So yeah, I just need to make the second one. I made this one and then I got a little bit, like I wanted to work on something else. It's kind of like the second sock or the second mitten syndrome, but I will of course make it, probably start on it tonight because it is a gift, and then I'll be done most of my Christmas gifts, which is a lovely position to be in at the end of November. So yeah, that's the Elsa glove, my second finished item. Okay, so then my next work in progress is actually also from the same book, 52 Weeks of Easy Knits. I'm kind of like, I don't know, I went through this book and I was like, oh, I want to make this, this, and this. So then I started. And this one, I kind of started like just one weekend and I haven't really worked on it since, mainly because I just had a very chill, quiet weekend and I wanted to work on something. So I started on the diamond twill vest, which is pattern number 10 in the book, and this is what it looks like in the sample. Essentially it is this bottom up vest that features this knit and purl pattern. Here's the other sample in the book. This beautiful like knit purl diamond shaped pattern that is solely created by alternating your knits and your purls. And the yarn I've chosen to make this in is the Drops Nepal mix, which is, yeah, I'm using the color 0618, which is this like, what is this, like dark oat, I would say, like this natural color. It is a wool and alpaca mix. the recommended gauge is actually 17 stitches by 22 rows on 10 by 10 centimeters, but then when I made my little gauge swatch here with 5mm needles, which are the suggested needles on this yarn, I actually got a gauge of 18 stitches, so just one extra stitch in my 10 centimeters. I didn't switch my needle size to be able to make the pattern because the pattern also calls for 17 stitches, but I actually sized one up, so I'm making a size 3 for myself instead of a size 2. And this is what it currently looks like. So as you can see, I've kind of worked my way up from the bottom, ribbing, and I've kind of created the first almost 2 diamonds right here. It's literally been so fun, like, making this, because it's just like every row is a little bit different, so it's pretty engaging, but it's not the type where you really need to focus. I mean, of course you have to get your knits and your purls, but you're not doing super complicated like cabling or anything, so it's like just literally knitting and purling. It's kind of fun because the back is just like the opposite of the front, of course, with knits and purls. And yeah, I mean, this, I'm kind of like breezing through this wool. I think this is already 3 skeins, but it is a vest, so I don't anticipate that I'll run out of wool. But yeah, I haven't really touched it like in the last 2 weeks when I first casted it, since when I first casted it on. But I will once my Christmas gifts are done. I'm gonna get right back into this. I'm also really liking the color. I think for me it's kind of hard sometimes to pick like a beige tone that actually matches me, just because like I do tend to go quite pale in the winter, and then beiges are always a little bit dangerous. But I do think like with this one, like this, I can definitely wear this. It doesn't really wash me out too much. But I really struggled with like purchasing yarns, especially purchasing yarns online, to kind of get a right tone, just because, yeah, otherwise I look like a sheet of paper, which is not what we want. But yeah, super happy with this. I think I'll start splitting for the sleeves soon even, although it doesn't look like I've done that much. It is kind of like a crop vest, so yeah, pretty excited about this one, to be honest. It's just kind of like been my side project, that been, you know, that I know I can pick up, because yeah, I'll remember where I was kind of and then just continue from there. Using 5mm needles, and like I said, I sized up one size from the pattern just because my gauge didn't match. So far, like, I really am surprised about how little scratchy this wool is, because it's like 100% wool and alpaca. So it's, what is it? It's 65% wool, 35% alpaca, and it's like not really scratchy. I think if you're like super sensitive, like maybe, but this is really fine. I mean, I purchased this knowing that I'm not gonna wear it just like on my body, because like it'll go over a top. But yeah, so far, pretty big fan of the drops of Paul. So yeah, there it is. Okay, so that is my diamond twill vest. Okay, moving on. I mean, I've talked about this project quite a bit, but this one has also kind of taken a little bit of a break, but I did want to just show you my progress, and that is my Petiteknit zipper sweater. I guess I have done quite a bit more from the last time I showed you, because I've done this whole body section, and now I've actually just started on the ribbing at the bottom. I'm not sure if you can even see it yet, but I've started on that. And then I guess it's just the sleeves and the zipper installation to go, and then that will be done as well. So this is the Petiteknit zipper sweater light pattern. I'm making it in Bluefaced Leicester fleece, with a gauge of, I believe it was 21 stitches per 10 centimeters. And yeah, I'm making this for my partner in size medium. So yeah, I'm also making like a whole project vlog for that one, so you'll be able to see a lot more detail once I finish this. Mainly because I was really looking for like help in how to make or how to do the construction of this, and I couldn't really find anything. So I figured, you know what, I'm gonna film every part of it, and then hopefully others can kind of use my video as a reference. That's kind of the idea behind it. But so far so good. It's progressing a little bit slower right now. I am working on 3.5mm needles for the ribbing at the moment, so it is just like a little bit slower for a sweater this big. I mean, it's huge, like it's so big. but that's okay. Hopefully I'll finish it by Christmas and then he'll be able to wear it over the holidays, but if not, no issue at all. We're in no rush. Okay, so now moving on to my acquisitions that I've made in the last few weeks. I have like purchased quite a bit of yarn just because of the gifts I was making, and yeah, I mean there's been some good like sales online as well. So I mean I already showed you, but I did purchase the Malabrigo Arroyo in this color and then in the Prussian blue as well. These are the Elsa gloves, and the other one was the hat. Then of course I also purchased the Drops Nepal, which I also just showed you. Maybe I should have done the acquisitions at the beginning, but anyways. And then the last yarn I bought was a t-shirt amount of the Drops Bell. Mainly because I have this book and I was kind of flipping through and I was like, everything I want to make out of this in the next little while. And the first item, not only the first item of the book, but also one of the first items that stood out to me was this one, which I think is really interesting, like summer tea. It's called Give Me the Tea, and it is the first pattern of the book. Yeah, and to make that I got the Drops Bell in blue, like it's a very dark blue. It is the color 20 in, I don't even know what the color is called, but it's like this very dark blue. I'd say it's a little bit lighter than what it looks like on the camera here, but this is a Drops yarn and it is a blend of cotton, viscose and linen. So that to me sounds like a pretty interesting blend. I've always kind of like wanted to make like more garments in cotton, especially like summer garments. So yeah, got this yarn. Probably won't start on this in a while because it's November and that's last month I'm thinking about making summer teas, but I bought it anyways because it kind of stood out to me, and I've written down that I'm gonna make this t-shirt out of this yarn in the future, probably next spring or something, but I wanted to share it with you here anyways. Then the other acquisition I got, and this one is super exciting, is this. So I got Kutovakika's Knits to Wear book. This is her second knitting book, and I initially thought I was pre-ordering it because like on the Lane website I was like pre-order now, so I clicked it thinking, oh, it'll just be sent to me when it's ready. But then they just sent it. It's already dropped, so super exciting. I have looked through it and I'm already like, I've actually already purchased my yarn for the first project in here. I'm so excited for this. Like, I've been following her for such a long time. I think she's part of the reason I also started a YouTube channel here. So she's just such an inspiration. Super excited to make stuff out of it. Super excited to have it like also as a hardcover, mainly because my other knitting book, this one is a soft cover, which is fine, but I think there's just something special about like a nice hardcover. So yeah, I want to kind of like get a little bit more familiar with it, and then I will also do probably a flip through, and then once I've knitted a few things out of it, then I'll probably also do a review of this book. But yeah, for now, oh, look at it. It's so beautiful as well, just like lying on my shelf with the big lettering and everything, and it's full of inspiration. So super, super exciting. It also just smells so good. Oh. But anyways, those were my acquisitions. So yeah, as to my future knitting plans, I think I'm mainly just gonna like focus on finishing stuff up. I mean, those of you who watch my podcast, I'm never one who has a lot of projects going on at the same time, so this is already kind of like a lot in my world. And yeah, I have just ordered a bunch more yarn for some future projects as well, so I'll be looking forward to starting those. I'll share those with you later, because let's be honest, during the wild and crazy Christmas times, like I don't think I'll have that much time to knit anyways. But yeah, so I hope you enjoyed this knitting podcast. If you did, I'd love for you to subscribe and stick around, give it a thumbs up, and maybe leave in the comments below what you are gift knitting this holiday season, and if you are gift knitting, because I know for a lot of people that's not something they want to do. So yeah, I hope you take care and hope to see you in the next one. Bye!